Hi, this is Jill Murphy from Pharmacy Times. Before we get started today, one of our top stories on Pharmacy Times is about how insufficient sleep has a big impact on childhood mental health. Today I'm speaking with Adam Martin, founder of the Fit Pharmacist, about burnout prevention and stress management. How are you doing, Adam?
I am excellent, Jill. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, my first question is about stress management and burnout. These are issues that can affect many individuals in various careers. How have you experienced these challenges in your experiences in pharmacy?
Excellent question. And being in the COVID-19 pandemic, burnout has becoming more and more of a pandemic in pharmacy. And really what that is a lack of self-care, which doesn't necessarily mean going on a retreat, but just doing the simple things day to day, either at home or in the pharmacy, that just gives you mental sanity. And whenever you say, have you experienced challenges in pharmacy? Absolutely. So I've been working full time in community since 2012. So I'm right with everyone else working on the front lines and absolutely definitely facing challenges right now, going through COVID for sure.
And with that being said, have you seen a change in like work-life balance for yourself, or have you seen people you work with having these challenges too?
What is balance? So with COVID-19, like literally no one has experienced anything like this in pharmacy, any field. So it's totally a new arena and it leaves a lot of uncertainty, which can drive a lot of people, especially us type A pharmacists, crazy because we love to have all our ducks in a row. We love to have a plan. But when we're in a workflow that's never existed before, when we're in a time both in our economy and healthcare in the world that's never happened in our lives, how to manage that is really like, who knows the answer to that? So in order to really find that, it's about creating that consistency for yourself. And that can be a challenge, but the beauty of that is there's no wrong answer because no one's done it before. So finding a routine that you can stick to that's realistic for your balance, whether you have a family or you're a pharmacist or a pharmacy student, finding something that's realistic and helps you to really stay focused with that your goals in mind. That's what's really key.
And on top of having a routine, do you have any other type of tips or advice in your own practice that you would give to pharmacists about managing stress in the workplace?
Absolutely. Knowing that self-care is not selfish and really making that a mainstay. Because in pharmacy, we're givers. We love to help and serve our patients. And sometimes we do that to our own detriment, trying to give and give and give and, cut out our workouts, cut out prepping our food and all that stuff. And in the short term, that's totally fine. But the problem is when that becomes a habit and then that turns into a lack of self-care where it's just, I don't have time, and that long term is what leads into burnout. So just finding some simple things that you can do rather than adding this huge to-do list to the already growing list that we have as pharmacists, that's really key. So one thing that I've done differently is I get up and I go for walks before my work shift, and I work 13-hour shifts. So it is possible, but it's just rearranging your time to see what are my goals, how will these help me, and how can I arrange them so that I can realistically make this work in my daily life.
And other than the pharmacists themselves, how can healthcare professionals continue to counsel patients on managing stress also?
So one of the things that we can do is lead by example. And I think that's the simplest definition of leadership, of trust, and being a healthcare provider is we want to help our patients live their best lives and lead them to better health. If we're not doing that ourselves, they're not going to be able to follow the leader. So we're not perfect. And it's not about creating this, perfect strategy and lifestyle that fits everything and checks every check mark. It's about focusing on progress. When you focus on progress over perfection, it's going to relieve a lot of anxiety. It's going to allow you to feel like you're making a difference in your own life and really bring that energy to the table when you're working as a pharmacist. When you do that, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to have struggles. You're not going to hit your mark or whatever that is. Being able to bounce back from that, learn from it, and adapt, that's where the good stuff's going to come from. And when I say good stuff, I mean both for you, but also with counseling your patients, because they're going to come to you. We're one of the most trusted healthcare providers, and they trust you. So they're going to come to you saying things like, I hear all this stuff about the news. I'm scared. What do? I feel stressed out and just anxious all the time. And that's when having that conversation and saying, I agree, I understand, I'm going through this with you. We're in this together. I struggled with that too. Here's how I overcame it, or here's some simple tips that I have done. By sharing your story and your experience, that's going to allow your patients to see that, yes, there is hope, and it's going to be coming from a place of trust because you're practicing what you're preaching. So not only will that help you as an individual bring your best to the table, but it's also going to further the trust relationship you have with your patients from leading by example.
Absolutely. And the world is definitely going to be different post-pandemic after everything, we get a vaccine and all of that. So what advice do you give to healthcare professionals who are experiencing burnout now and may experience it after our new world?
This is such a common and fascinating question. And being in pharmacy and speaking all over the world with students and schools and organizations, I hear this all the time. And one of the statements that I hear repeatedly is, Adam, I feel like my life is spiraling out of control. My anxiety levels are they're just growing at a rampant pace. What do I do? And how to address that is, when you feel like your anxiety, when your life, when your pharmacy world, whatever it is spiraling out of control, hit the pause button. Literally hit the pause button. Instead of trying to do all these things and achieve this and do that, focus on the source. Who is providing care to their patients? Who is trying to grow? You. And you need to realize that while you might be trying to fill the cups of your patients, your colleagues, your students, if you're a preceptor, you can't pour from an empty cup. So when you take the moment to really pause that process and just give yourself that time, and again, there's no right or wrong answer. That might include binge watching on Netflix, ordering food out, just having meditation time, going for a walk outside. It's whatever fuels you and makes you feel like you're taking care of yourself. That's the right answer. So focus on what you can do from feeling like you're spiraling out of control by just hitting the pause button and refilling your cup so that you can fill others up too.
I love that, and it's so true. Adam, thank you so much for joining us. Now, let's hear from some of our other MGH Life Sciences brands on their latest headlines.